Winter can be a tough season for so many reasons. Cold, congestion, and that dry winter air that leaves your skin itchy and lips chapped. There are tons of products that promise relief, but I prefer to stick to the tried and true solutions that actually work. That's why I love Vicks Vapo. Fun fact, did you know it's the third most recognizable scent in the world? The smell of Vicks Vapo reminds me of my childhood, and it's so soothing. And let's talk about their humidifiers, not just for when you're sick, but even when you're feeling fine. They're a game changer for adding moisture back in the air, helping relieve that dry, uncomfortable winter skin and lips. I'll admit, I was hesitant to try a humidifier at first, but this one is super easy to use and clean thanks to the wide tank opening. Just fill it up when it's empty and swap out the Vapo pads as needed. No hassle, just comfort. Find the Vicks Cool Relief along with Vapo Steam and a variety of Vapo pads on Amazon. There's a special offer on Amazon on the Vicks Cool Relief Humidifier where you can get 20% off your purchase. Just go to Amazon.com and search Vicks VUL 600 Cool Relief Humidifier. It has a blue tank with the white in the center. Be sure to click the coupon to get the discount. You need this for wintertime comfort. You're listening to Make Some Noise podcast Minisode number 653. Welcome to Make Some Noise podcast, your guide for strategies, tools, and insight to empower yourself. I'm your host, Andrea Owen, global speaker, entrepreneur, life coach since 2007, and author of 3 books that have been translated into 18 languages and are available in 22 countries. Each week, I'll bring you a guest or a lesson that will help you maximize unshakable confidence, master resilience, and make some noise in your life. You ready? Let's go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for being here with me today. I wanted to wish you again a happy new year. We're still in January 2025, the longest month of the year, the month that feels like an entire year sometimes. I think especially with how intense things are recently with the fires in LA and everything else, it can feel like a lot. But I hope that 2025 is bringing you some joy as well as the intensity. That being said, I wanted to bring you a mini-sode on celebrating small victories. It's something that I don't think I've ever really talked about, but like what it looks like, why it's important. And it's also something that I've struggled with doing in the past. So I wanted to bring you along with me and we can both learn about this together. Before I jump into the actual content, I want to make sure that you are on my newsletter list. I have a writing program that I have run before, wildly popular writing program coming up, and also a brand new one-on-one package and another really awesome, longer, more in-depth group program that I'm going to be offering this spring when I turn 50. More on that later. And I want to make sure that you know about it because I know that sometimes y'all get behind on the podcast. And then I've had many times where I hear from you in my DM saying, oh, I wish I knew about this before because you were late to listen to the podcast. So if you are interested in joining any of those things and working with me at a more close level, head on over to AndreaOwen.com/free and you'll be signed up. And I promise I won't spam you. Who does that anymore? It's 2025. Let's not spam each other. All right, let's get into the content. So today we're diving into why small victories, the moments of, let's call them quiet triumph, deserve just as much celebration as the big milestones. And when we do this, these small wins, these small victories can help us maintain our positivity. They can help maintain our momentum, our motivation, and our resilience and our confidence as well. I think we greatly underestimate how much small victories can add up in our lives when it comes to our personal growth. And I know for me, those have always felt kind of almost just overzealous. I'm trying to think of the right word, how it feels unnecessary. It's always felt a little like, oh, well, this is the bare minimum. of course, I should be doing this. Why would I need to celebrate it? And to me, that speaks to our culture of our value being wrapped up in our productivity, and that we must be uber productive in order to have more value. And I think that does us a massive disservice, especially as women, where we are responsible many times for carrying much of the load in any leadership position that we are in. I think a lot of times we just kind of like brush those under the rug. And so I also, before I get into any more, I want to pause and tell you about like, what does it mean to quote unquote celebrate these small victories, or even the big victories? We can think of things like if we get a promotion, for example, or if you're an entrepreneur, if you cross a certain milestone in your business, you might go out to dinner with loved ones. You might post about it on social media, get the cool balloons that say, have numbers on it or whatever, kind of like you would celebrate a birthday, publicly celebrate it, have friends join in you with the celebration, or maybe you splurge and buy yourself something expensive that you've been waiting to do. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I think a small victory, like a small celebration, can also be, if you want to have like a party for every small win, go for it. But when I talk about celebrating small wins, I'm thinking of sometimes even just pausing to acknowledge that you did it. One of my favorite scenes from the movie Elf is when he walks into the coffee shop when he first gets to New York City. For those that haven't seen the movie, you need to see it. But he's an elf and he's grown up in the North Pole, and he comes to the United States. He comes to New York City, and there's a sign in the window that says "World's Best Cup of Coffee." And he swings the door open. He says, "Congratulations, you did it. World's best cup of coffee. Great job, guys." That's what I say to myself and out loud. I have a particular friend where we message this back and forth to each other whenever we do something even small. In fact, I had traveled with this person, and I don't know about you all, but I get constipated. This podcast episode sure took a turn, didn't it? I get constipated every time I travel. Doesn't matter how long, doesn't matter who I'm with, doesn't matter where I go. My body shuts it up. Nope. Oh, nope. Oh, we're traveling? Okay, no poop for you. And so I was on a 4-day trip, and it was like the third or fourth day, I finally went, and I had told the person I was traveling with, like, this happens to me. And when I finally did it, I came out of the bathroom and I was like to myself, I was like, congratulations, we did it. Great job, guys. And it just, you can add in a sense of humor about it, that it's kind of ridiculous to be celebrating that I had a successful bowel movement, but yet here I am celebrating the small wins. So it can be just that. It could be a funny line from a movie that you say. It can be just a little dance that you do in your office or in your kitchen or whatever. It can be just a yay me, or it can be, I'm all for accountability. It can be this ongoing thing that you have with a friend or a coach or an accountability partner where you make a point to celebrate these small wins, and you create something small or funny or cute, but poignant to do. Okay. So I wanted to kind of paint that picture ahead of time. So there is some science that tells us that celebrating small wins activates our brain's reward system, releasing that, the thing we all love, dopamine, and it encourages a continued effort. It will create a sense of progress because you are marking in your brain that you are making progress with something that's important to you. Albeit small, it doesn't matter. All right, we're going to take a quick ad break. When we get back, I'm going to talk about confidence. I'm going to talk about self-confidence. We'll be right back.
Are you a parent in need of a laugh and a little escape? Look no further. Parenting is a Joke is the podcast you've been waiting for. Hey, I'm Ophira Eisenberg. I'm a stand-up comic and parent. And each week I chat with one of my top comedian pals who, just like you, are juggling careers, busy lives and schedules, and raising a family. You can expect candid stories, hilarious mishaps that happen on stage and at home, and just a lot of laughs. There's no expert advice here. Well, actually, sometimes a good idea does sneak its way in, but mostly just pure, relatable fun to remind you that we're all in this parenting adventure together. New episodes of Parenting is a Joke drop every Tuesday, so tune in, get ready to laugh, unwind, and maybe even feel a little bit better about your own parenting. Because sometimes that's exactly what your therapist, pediatrician, and bartender ordered. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast platform.
Lynn, this time of year, parenting can be such a flusterclux.
You've come to the right place. I'm Lynn Lyons, and I've been treating anxious families for over 30 years.
I'm Lynn's sister-in-law and co-host Robin Hudson.
Join us for Flusterclux, a podcast for parents who worry.
Wait, that's everybody.
Yeah, these last few years have felt like one long anxiety attack for so many.
Why do you think parents are always surprised that a podcast about anxiety relates to them, even if no one in their house has an anxiety disorder?
Well, worry is human. Everyone does it, and anxiety shows up when we face uncertainty.
All the parenting tips you've taught me have been essential.
I love to break it down into skills we need to manage worry in our families.
We've covered so many topics: depression, burnout, meltdowns, perfectionism.
Don't forget scary mothers-in-law.
Right, but of course that's not my mother-in-law.
Because that's my mother.
And a listener.
As a psychotherapist, I like to teach parents and kids how to respond to everyday moments in healthy ways.
Managing anxiety really can be taught.
It really can, and I'll even tell you what to say.
We talk about serious stuff, but without being too serious.
Anxiety wants everything serious. Anxiety doesn't stand a chance when we're laughing, even about the tough stuff.
Hello, you sentient ball of stardust. My name is Casey Davis. I'm a therapist, and I'm an author of the book How to Keep House While Drowning, where I talk about ways to make it a little bit easier to take care of yourself when you're overwhelmed, stressed, have mental health issues, physical health issues, or maybe you're just in a hard season of life. Maybe you're looking for a place that you can come and listen to some practical advice. This is a podcast for all of the self-help rejects. We're going to talk about skills for survival and self-kindness. And I'm going to leave the pop psychology at the door. I promise not to tell you to meditate or to journal. We're just going to give you some really insightful conversations with hopefully some practical advice. So I don't believe you need to pick yourself up by the bootstraps. I don't want you to just try harder, and I don't believe that laziness exists. So join me over on Struggle Care, where we can find compassionate solutions that help us function a little bit better.
Okay, we're back. You know how I often talk to you about how confidence is built by experience? It's built in small increments of experience over time. That's one of the ways. I think it's the biggest way that we develop self-confidence. And so by making a point, by pausing to acknowledge, at the very least acknowledge, but to also celebrate small victories, it boosts your confidence. And then that leads to what you need, the confidence and the motivation, the self-assuredness to be able to tackle larger goals. 100%. Celebrating small wins can also help anyone who really struggles with perfectionism, and more specifically, all or nothing thinking. So black and white thinking, the kind of the binary that we create of either we do it all perfectly the first time, or we don't do it at all. When you can notice how much these small steps make up the bigger picture, and how sometimes you might even have setbacks along the way, but you keep picking yourself back up and you keep celebrating those small wins, that can show you evidence that good things happen over time, that mastery happens over time, that success happens over time. And then that can help you, because it's gray area is what that is, can help you see that that's not, that black and white thinking is not helpful at all. I also wanted to take a minute to give you some examples of what small victories can look like in terms of your personal growth. It can look like finishing a chapter of a self-help book, not even the whole thing, because I know how challenging that can be. It can be finishing a chapter of a self-help book, especially one that you had a key takeaway and that you maybe you journaled on it, maybe you wrote something in the margins, maybe you highlighted a few things. I know a lot of you like to put little bookmarks so you can go back later, or maybe you don't go back, whatever. Whatever makes you feel good. But finishing that and having a key takeaway, maybe you share it with someone. Another example would be sending a hard email, like whatever that thing is that you've been putting off for a long time. That's bigger than a small victory, quite honestly. I know that's a big one. But even, okay, because I was going to say like having a hard conversation, but that's a big one. Preparing for the hard conversation. If you've read any book on boundaries or listened to any expert talk about communication and especially hard conversations, they will tell you, prepare for that. Prepare for that conversation. Don't just go in cold and blind. Go prepared. And so preparing for that hard conversation can be a small victory in your personal growth. If you are someone who has been really looking at your drinking this year and have decided to go for dry January, every day is a small victory. Every day when normally you would be drinking too many glasses of wine every night, the nights that you don't, I mean, that's kind of a big one to me. But maybe you reserve it feeling like a big victory for the very end if you get through dry January. But all of those days matter. Even if you only make it 2 weeks, that matters. That is a small victory. And we can't forget, just finishing a workout. I started celebrating every time I stretch because it feels like one of those things where you just, I don't know. When I was younger, when I was in my 20s and 30s, like it didn't matter that much that I stretch. In my 40s, you bet your ass, you bet your sore, tight buttocks muscles that it matters. So I celebrate every time I stretch. I'm like, look at me, like a good middle-aged lady taking care of my body. I just thought of something too. If you're not sold, if you're this far into this podcast episode and you're still not sold, when you really take the time to celebrate these small victories, again, doesn't have to take up a whole lot of your time or energy, but this is practicing gratitude. That is fostering a mindset of abundance. In a world where it can become habitual to live in a world of scarcity, and by live in a world, I mean like your brain constantly goes to, I'm not doing enough. I don't have enough time to do all the things. I'm not as far enough along as I thought I would be. I'm not far enough along as so-and-so. When you pause to celebrate the small victories, hopefully daily, you make it a habit. You are making a habit of having an abundant mindset, of leaning into the knowledge and the feeling that what you are doing is enough, that what you have is enough. That is gratitude. That is practicing gratitude as well, which we all know is good for you. Gratitude is medicine. I want to end too by saying like this, if you feel like it, make this an accountability thing with a group of friends or like your one bestie, or maybe you ask your therapist to ask you the same question at the beginning of every single therapy appointment. And that question is, tell me what's working. Tell me what's good. Tell me 3 to 5 small things that you've done this week. Any one of those. Your therapist has it in their notes. It's the very first thing. Or you set a reminder before each therapy appointment to start, you be proactive about it, to start each session with that. It can become a habit. So to summarize, celebrate every step forward, no matter how small. Recognize that each small win is a part of your large journey. Understand that by doing these practices, you are fostering an abundant mindset. You're fostering self-confidence. You are solidifying your momentum and your motivation. I would love for you to share this particular episode with a friend, or you can do both, or post this on your Instagram stories You can like take a screenshot of it. There's other ways to share this episode too, and tag me in it. And in the text, type out one small victory. So I will see it. Tag me. I'm at Hey Andrea Owen, so I can repost it to my stories and celebrate with you. That sounds like fun. I think it sounds like fun. And before we end, just again, small victories can feel quiet, like when we're used to just seeing big victories on the internet all over us. But they're the little whispers of gratitude that can lead to gigantic, loud success. All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me in these mini-sodes. And remember, it's our life's journey to make ourselves better humans and our life's responsibility to make the world a better place. Bye for now. Hey, did you know there's free secret podcast episodes waiting for you that are not part of my regular podcast feed? Yes. AndreaOwen.com/free. And you just sign up. You get a link sent to you. It's very secret. It's like a secret club. We don't have a secret handshake. Don't worry about that. But it's these motivating podcast episodes that I made for you. They're under 20 minutes each. There's 3 of them. They're for wherever you are in your life. So head on over there and grab them. They range from really supporting you and seeing you where you are and being compassionate, all the way to giving you a giant kick in your ass and telling you how amazing and gorgeous and phenomenal you are. So AndreaOwen.com/free and get your hands on that free podcast feed.
Hello, you sentient ball of stardust. My name is Casey Davis. I'm a therapist and I'm an author of the book How to Keep House While Drowning, where I talk about ways to make it a little bit easier to take care of yourself when you're overwhelmed, stressed, have mental health issues, physical health issues, or maybe you're just in a hard season of life. Maybe you're looking for a place that you can come and listen to some practical advice. This is a podcast for all of the self-help rejects. We're going to talk about skills for survival and self-kindness. And I'm going to leave the pop psychology at the door. I promise not to tell you to meditate or to journal. We're just going to give you some really insightful conversations with hopefully some practical advice. So I don't believe you need to pick yourself up by the bootstraps. I don't want you to just try harder, and I don't believe that laziness exists. So join me over on Struggle Care, where we can find compassionate solutions that help us function a little bit better.